This chapter draws on the work of Federico Fabiani, an expert in digital innovation and storytelling. Federico leads the innovation area at an Italian NGO, Scambi Europei, and he is currently developing 2 podcast series where he is involved in everything from writing and recording to editing and publishing. And he is really advertising podcasts as a perfect medium to tell powerful stories. And that's the reason I want to share it with you as well. Some people say that audio is the most visual medium. Sounds strange, right? But think about it. When you listen, you are not just receiving information. You are imagining. You are building scenes in your mind. You fill in the blanks with your memories, emotions, imagination. In a way, every listener co-creates the story. This is what makes podcasts such a powerful format for storytelling, especially when you want to tell complex, emotional, or intimate stories, like those related to incarceration, justice, and social change. Using podcast as a medium, you can create truly authentic stories because, first, voice creates connection. The tone, the rhythm, pauses, hesitation, these are deeply human. A voice tells you so much more than just words on a page. Second, audio strips away assumptions. You're not seeing someone, you are listening. That makes it harder to stereotype or judge based on appearance. And third, the listener becomes part of the story. The invisible becomes visible in the imagination of the listener, and that creates lasting impact. But what is a podcast exactly? A podcast can take many forms. Before you begin, explore what format best suits your audience and your resources. And some of those formats are, for example, an interview, a monologue. It can also be a conversational podcast where 2 or more co-hosts freely talk, and usually it's unscripted. It can also be a panel. It can even be non-fiction storytelling, which is a structured narrative with interviews, music, and sound effects. A podcast can also be a fiction or an audio drama. These are scripted stories with actual voice actors and sound effects. Each of these formats has its own strengths, so choose according to your needs. If you decide you want to create a podcast, I invite you to do a very simple exercise that might help you to start. Complete the following sentence. I'm doing a story about X, and it's interesting because of Y. X is your topic, and Y is your angle. It answers questions like why it matters, what makes it different, surprising, or even urgent. You must know your why before you start. It's like your North Star. It helps you decide what to include and what to exclude, who to interview, and how to edit the final piece. Without a clear why, you risk ending up with a pile of audio files and no story. Finally, if you are curious about stories from prison or around incarceration, here you can see on the screen some powerful podcasts that are worth checking out. You'll find links and descriptions in the document that you can download.